Get 10% off all VeVe, Ecomi, and Omi merch at CavellAnderson.com using the code Christmas10. Our primary line will always be available, while our limited edition section will only ever have 100 items total and will never be sold again. Get it while supplies last. Yo, what is going on, y'all? I'm Cavell Anderson, and we are back with another VeVe and Ecomi video. And this one, we're actually going to be checking out one of the homies who I reacted to a while ago, and his channel has been going crazy. It's been going very, very well because he's an amazing content creator. It's a lot of underrated content creators that I feel deserve a lot more recognition. So be sure to subscribe to his channel. He's almost at 1,000 subscribers, and you all know how I hate seeing people under 1,000 subscribers with so much talent, because that if you're under 1,000 subscribers, you can't get paid for your work. So I want to see these people eating, everybody eating, being successful, and getting a little bit of extra pay for the time they're putting into the community. I love to see everybody winning. So be sure to subscribe to this channel. Let's at least get him to 1,000 subscribers. Drop that thumbs up, subscribe, turn notifications, all that stuff. And in this one, we're going to be jumping into his Omi price model. He's going to be doing an Omi price model, and it's not something like technical analysis and things like that. It's not just some simple breakdown of the Omi price, like a basic breakdown that you have seen before. He's going to be doing something unique and using his real life expertise and putting that into his videos. And I think that makes for the best content. People using their own strategy, their own things that they use and find valuable to make their decisions and stuff like that, being themselves and putting that into their content, because it gives everybody a perspective. That's why there's so many different content creators and stuff that people connect with, because this person you may be similar to this. You like looking at technical analysis, you like looking at these numbers. That's what makes you feel comfortable. While this person, fundamental analysis, you may just like something super simple you can wrap your head around. It's very easy. That's more my speed. Then you have him who's using like betting software and stuff like this and all types of calculations and things like that. So yeah, we're gonna jump into this. If you enjoy this video, enjoy this type of content, please subscribe. Like I said, I want to see my man's at 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully we can get him there. But yeah, let's jump in.
But I'm incorporating some of my professional work here with the last few videos. With a lot of price predictions that I see, they are usually studies in a vacuum. For example, I hear how burns can equal or not equal a certain price point, or how a certain license can make the price move up and down. The thing that people need to be asking is how that all works. For example, with burns, in a vacuum, sure, a certain level of burns can limit or increase the price. But how do burns change? Well, we have to get outside that vacuum and analyze the primary and secondary market sales. How are those affected? We then have to see what users are doing and what fan bases that we are bringing in. We also need to incorporate churn.
Primary and secondary market sales. So I wonder if he's actually going to dive into things like the VeVeverse and stuff that's not really being thought of right now, stuff that we have no data or information on, because that's a lot of the stuff that people don't usually include in these predictions. People don't include the fact that there's going to be other projects that actually burns the Omi token. That's something that a lot of people don't take into consideration as well. So if you have, like, depending on how many projects they plan on linking to the Omi token, if you have 5, 6, 7 different projects all being run off the Omi token, it obviously gets you to certain milestones and goals much faster than if you only had one project focusing on burning the Omi token. So, I mean, the burns could be substantial depending on how things go. So I wonder if he's factored a lot of this in.
Churn rates that offset those new users. It's those individual steps and mapping out the cause and effect relationships of these is when you can get a true or truer picture of what will affect the Omi token. So when I was digging away at this, at times the picture got a lot cloudier before it got clearer. I spent the last week researching and slicing and dicing the data to find trends that I could rely on. And I found a ton of dead ends along the way. So if anyone noticed I didn't post a video for a longer than normal time, that's the reason. So let's pull up the model and get into the numbers. This is the main interface where you can change some of the parameters based on your personal opinion and analysis. The first thing you need to do is enable content or enable macros. The back end that you cannot see is where all the calculations happen, and I'm not going to go through all of that. One reason is that this video will turn into a 20-minute video or longer, and I always aim for much shorter. Just know that everything is based on real facts or real data, and I'll talk about them in general. Also, in my line of work, there's always someone who will sprinkle a little salt and pepper on your creations and your ideas and call it their own. So I'm keeping the recipe to my secret sauce hidden. This first part helps establish the health of the overall crypto market. there is not enough work done to study the overall crypto market, but there is more information studying Bitcoin. So I use that as an indirect method to see what the overall market cap is. The assumption I take here is that the Omi token is influenced by the overall market. Now, I know some people are adamant that Omi is bear market proof. As a general blanket statement, I sort of disagree. In my opinion, we need to break that down into two parts. Firstly, all tokens move with Bitcoin. That can be said with all of crypto until we get some sort of decoupling.
See, so this is what I mean. This is why I disagree with a lot of technical analysis and things like this, is because you only go off data and things that you see. But as an investor, I personally I look forward to things that's going to happen in the future, because everything always follows everything does something until it doesn't, or everything follows something until it doesn't. Because this is just like, everything is not going to just move with Bitcoin forever. Something is going to branch out, and you have to think about what logically makes sense. You put away from the things that you can see with your eyes. You close your eyes, just sit there and think about what it would take to break off from Bitcoin. And when you think of a project who literally, if you take away the crypto side completely, you have a project who they have a very successful app. It sells out of everything. People can buy the Omi token using a credit card without having to know that crypto exists whatsoever. If not a single person ever invests from the crypto side, the token would move, and it would constantly move up. It would constantly burn. The system would work strictly from the VeVe side alone, which is going to move the price of this token. Then you have things like staking and stuff like that as well within the VeVe app, which is again going to move the price of the token. So if you completely take crypto out of the picture, the crypto investors out of the picture, the token still moves. So if you factor in the fact that you can have 10 million, 20 million, 30, 40, 50 million people on this platform, and all of that, for 50 million people can be holding up the price of this token, that is what it would take to branch off away from Bitcoin. So yeah, I more so look towards where we're going, not at all the data that we have right now. But I understand people who take this approach where you need to see the data right here in front of you. I definitely get it. Like I said, people have their own approaches and see things in their own way. Nothing wrong with different points of view.
The other part is that yes, Omi does have unique tokenomics that can cause burns to increase at an accelerated pace in certain conditions. And that's different, and that's separate. That part requires a certain set of events to take place, and its effect can be lessened if things don't align. So my approach is to incorporate the macroeconomic factors on Omi, and then incorporate what happens with the burns, the buybacks, the sales, and so forth separately from a different calculation or a different module. The default numbers here are from the stock to flow model, and there are other models out there, but I chose the stock to flow because it is the most widely known as a historically accurate model, even though right now Bitcoin's kind of lagging quite a bit. Some do believe in the lengthening cycles theory, and it does look intriguing, as well as a lessening effect of stock to flow, all of which have solid supporting data, so these fields can be adjusted to whatever data model you believe in. I also have a Bitcoin dominance percentage to get the overall market cap. The general consensus from the experts is a diminishing Bitcoin dominance over time. Now we get to select exchanges. You can either click the link here or manually select the exchanges tab at the bottom. Here you can select what exchanges we expect to be listed on and what years you think they will list Omi. The exchanges are listed by 24-hour trading volume. These are my opinions on what I think will list Omi and the years. I expect this to vary from person to person, and this is where we develop our own individual price prediction. Keep in mind, if you select an exchange in 1 year and not the next year, it is read as a delisting, with all the negative effects that studies have shown to come with that. So in my example here, with KuCoin, I'm going to select it all the way through, as I don't believe they will ever delist the token. When you're all done, you can select the main user form tab, or select the link here in cell H1. The next two relate.
My bad, y'all. I was trying to dive into his tokens and stuff, or the things that the platforms that he thinks is going to list. I see he has Coinbase listed for 2023. I think that since Immutable is partnered with Coinbase, I think that that's going to be among the first ones. And they already said they were supposed to be having 4 exchanges come this year alone. I think that we're going to see a lot of these exchanges in 2022, as opposed to waiting to all the way throughout these years, like 2023. I think that this is very conservative. You're playing it very safe But yeah, I would disagree even at this stage right now. But that's just my thoughts.
You can select the main user form tab or select the link here in cell H1. The next two relate to marketing, using a numerical system to define how much marketing is done for both the Omi token and the VeVe platform. Those are two separate things. The legend in column H tells you what kind of marketing each number represents, with 0 being no marketing and 3 being heavy marketing. It's not just about signing the licenses, marketing is about starting the conversion process for that fan base. Here's the perfect example. When we signed with Marvel and then signed with Disney, both saw a temporary pump in the Omi token price and a very slow rise in the user base. Until Marvel started retweeting the Ecomi Twitter account, then did we finally see a massive jump. And not too long after that, we hit 1 million users. And I haven't landed a drop in weeks. My point is, marketing matters, and I think Ecomi are waiting until they are fully functional before the heavy marketing. So my choices are here as shown on the screen. The marketing affects a lot of things in the back end, so I put a factor to affect conversion and churn rates because we know from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a sense of belonging is embedded in human psychology, and if all your friends are showing off their VeVe NFTs, you are more likely to join and stay. Of course, these also affect burns and all the other data points along the way. Regarding burn, the key is when buybacks start. We don't know.
So as you can see, like, I like the amount of work that went into this. It's all done based off his opinions and his thoughts on how he thinks things are going to move. But it is a lot of guesswork even in this. And I think that that's what all of us are really doing. Essentially, we're all guessing and thinking the pace that we think that they're going to move at and things like that. I often differ in conclusions to a lot of people because it's like I see things different. I see things in a different way. Like, for instance, people think that, oh, it's going to take forever for them to get X amount gets a certain amount of traction to the token and things like this because they haven't focused on it for so long and things like this. A lot of people think that VeVe move fast. I think slow. I think that they move insanely fast. So when they start focusing on the token, I think that we're going to see token drops back to back to back, like token exchange drops and things like that. I think that they work insanely fast. So we're going to see it. We're going to be seeing it at a speed that most people will not expect. And that's like that. I think that that's one of the different perspectives that I have. Like, I think that I think they just, people underestimate what VeVe is capable of because they decide to move slow at the beginning to do things like scale properly, make sure they can handle all the growth that's going to come from certain things, because they have made the mistake already of only being prepared for 60,000 people. Now they're prepared for millions. Now they're stopping millions of bots a week. They're on another level now, and they know that because of this 60,000 people prediction ended up at 2 million people, they know, they more than likely know that there's a chance they can go from this 2 million people to 10, 20 million with ease. So I would hope that they're putting themselves in a position to be able to handle that, as opposed to, okay, we were expecting 60,000, we jumped up to 2 million. Let's prepare for about 5 million people. Like that would be worst case scenario, because I'm pretty sure we'll blow past 5 million very easily once some serious promotion goes on. So hopefully they are factoring in the fact that, oh, we can hit 10, 20, 30. That could be, we could blow past that in a snap. Like, so this is what I think that they're doing. I think that they're preparing for things like that. I think that they know it, and that's what they're in preparation for.
When they will. So here you can select when you think they will start back up. The next two factors are big in attracting and retaining users within the app. That's the VeVeverse and gamification. You can select when you think they will be active. I personally think we won't get VeVeverse until 2023, and I think gamification will follow, but in the same year. That might differ from other people's opinions. And
yeah, see, and this one, I think that we're going to see the VeVeverse in 2022. I think that we were getting past these beginning stages and these beginning hurdles of VeVe not really. Well, what VeVe has just over delivered all the time. They work with companies who just really aren't ready to handle what VeVe is bringing to the table and work at the same level as VeVe. So I think Immutable X was not ready. But after this big change and this big swap happens, I think that they're going to be going hard, focusing on the VeVeverse. And I think that we're going to see the versions of that start dropping fairly quickly once they actually are in a place where they just focus on it. So I definitely expect that next year. So yeah, this is just, I think that I believe that VeVe is going to work. Like, even with all the signs, all the delays, all the VeVe is moving slow and things like that, I see the true speed that VeVe works at So I think that stuff is going to happen a lot quicker than people realize. Now I know some things may come up, there may be things that happen, and that's something that a lot of people factor in, but it's not really much that could happen. Like basically the only thing that slowed them down is the scalability. Like literally what slowed them down is only preparing for 60,000 people and getting 2 million. So if you don't get caught off guard by millions of people again, then you should be perfectly fine. You shouldn't have to, this unique problem, and then switching blockchains, these unique problems, these are not problems you come across again. So I think that these are some of the biggest problems and some of the biggest things that could have slowed up this process that there could possibly be. I can't foresee other issues being this big, to be honest, and stopping VeVe from growing this much. I just can't see. I can't think of any other big events that does this. But yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it will. Now we can select licenses. Similar to the exchanges, you can select the link or go to the tab called licenses. These licenses are listed by life to date total revenue, so you can select what licenses you think will join VeVe and when. The key here, very key, is you have to select when you think VeVe will start selling these licensors' products. It's not when you think they will sign with VeVe or when they will be announced. It's when they will sell the products. So if you think Pokemon products will launch next year, you got to know that they should be working on them right now and have a deal already signed. If you think that is the case, you can go ahead and select them for 2022. When you're all done, you can select the main user form or click the link here at the
He put a lot of thought into this. I definitely like this. He has factored in a lot.
top. If you're all set, you can select the calculate button at the top, and this is where you get my price forecast. If it didn't work, if the button didn't work, you didn't enable content or enable macros, so you can save your changes, reopen the file, and then enable them, and then hit calculate. Is this model perfect? No, it is not, but it is the most comprehensive model publicly available. Can it be improved? I already have ideas on how to refine it, and I even adjusted the conversion rates just this morning based on new reports that I found. Is this financial advice? It most definitely is not. So let's touch on the bottom section here, and I jotted down some notes and limitations. You can read through the notes and assumptions here, but I want to touch on the limitations section. As I said, everything is based on fact, or starts off based on a fact, but there are some big factors that I could not find anything to base on. I toyed with the idea where you can just input guesses, but that defeats the purpose of being a data-driven model. So some potentially big limitations that are not included here is the burning of land and other burning via the Omi utility program.
So basically the biggest things that's going to impact the price are not being considered. And this is the thing. Like most price predictions, they end up getting to, they end up saying, okay, it's realistic it could potentially happen. It's not likely that we'll hit $10. It could potentially happen though. And they get to the conclusion that it could potentially happen when they exclude, they get to that assessment even when they exclude all the biggest details and the biggest catalysts. This is a common theme. It's a common theme that you don't really factor in all the information because you can't really factor in that information. But so then you have to think, okay, how big is metaverse is going to be in the world? I think Ready Player One. I think Ready Player One status is what we're going to see the world move into. We already, with COVID, this had already pushed people in the house and had people stuck in the house. We see the real estate market moving over into metaverses, and we see Facebook naming itself Meta. Metaverses are going to be a massive part of our world. And no matter what metaverse you're in, you're going to want things from VeVe, because if you're a fan of Meta, if you're a fan of Decentraland, if you're a fan of whatever, your showroom on whatever metaverse you spend the most of your time in, you're going to want things from your childhood, like these collectibles, these Disney things and stuff like that, which because of the interoperability, you can actually take these assets from VeVe and eventually maybe you can put it over on Meta, you can put it over on Decentraland, you can put it over on whatever platform you use most. And if VeVe delivers on what they promise and what they're setting out to do, the VeVe's metaverse could be the most entertaining and most amazing metaverse out of all of them. So I mean, it's just a lot to factor in, and you can't really, you can't factor in, okay, VeVe is going to be the top metaverse, and you just can't factor that in. But if you think that the top metaverses are going to be worth tens of trillions, then that completely changes things. If you think that the top metaverses are going to be worth tens of trillions, then VeVe being worth 2 trillion ain't that much of a reach or a stretch. The thing is, we don't see market caps that size. We don't see that. We can't factor in data of something, of a world that does not exist yet. We are living in this world being created right now before our eyes. No, there's nobody alive who can factor in that data. So that's where you have to really be able to push yourself away from the data and think, where do I actually see this world moving towards? And that's the approach that I like to take. Is the world really going to get to a point where we can see $10 trillion market caps on metaverses? And I believe so. So yeah.
Also, what is the TVL, or total value locked, as this will affect the selling pressure on the token in a good way. As well as the timeline, this model only goes up to 2026. And finally, the virality of things. We don't choose what goes viral, but when it does, it's really hard to predict how high things can go.
And then you gotta factor that in. This is a lot of stuff. This is a lot of my points of why I think Omi is going to be a $10 Omi. But because you have something like Dogecoin that goes viral based off of Elon Musk, we can attract not only Elon Musk, but every other famous person on the planet. So when you have a project with this much potential, you're going to have something on VeVe that all of these people like. And as soon as they really get it together and start creating their metaverse and start really promoting and having this huge, massive buzz, VeVe is going to be a no-brainer investment for so many people. So I think that if any project is capable of having a bigger impact than the Doge community and things like that, I think that it's going to be the VeVe community, the Omi token. So yeah, I mean, it's just, the potential is endless, but obviously you can't plan for something like that. You can't factor that in.
One last limitation not written down here, and this applies to any data model in the crypto space really. It's even just one variable in this new space can be very hard to predict. Just my first point regarding the Bitcoin price. Now, I watch a bunch of people on a daily basis, and they're much smarter than I am in this regard. And they're having a tough time figuring out what the price of Bitcoin will be. That's just one aspect. So keep this in mind with any data model in crypto. Now, I want to take a few moments.
That's the thing. That's the uncertainty with following data. Like, we're trying to follow data. I mean, nobody can predict the market. This has been basic since just the stock market. Like, nobody can predict everything. This is why you have certain investors like Warren Buffett who doesn't really try. You just understand something. Once you understand it, if you really believe in it, you invest in it in DCA. And it's really that simple. Investing made insanely simple. But I mean, overcomplicating things, I think it's just overcomplicated for no reason. I've made good money just being simple. And yeah, that's why I live by it.
Now and take a look at one of these scenarios with the upper extreme in price and the infamous $10 price prediction that I often hear. People always refer to one of our community members, Cavell Anderson, for bringing this price prediction up. And I wanted to see if I put my model at its upper limit, if we will get there. Now, most people know Cavell as one of the first Omi YouTubers. I know him as one of the OGs that I still watch until today. And I also know him as a guy who gave me a shout out when he featured my Marvel lawsuit video. Now, back then I had about 12 subscribers, and at the time he got me a few hundred more, even though...
Wow, I didn't know that you were only at 12 subscribers when I first reacted to you. That's crazy. But yo, congratulations, man. I'm glad to see you've made it so far. Hopefully this reaction can get you to like 1,000 at least, so you can monetize your channel. But yeah, I definitely appreciate all that you do for the community. You've put a lot of work into this, and you've been going hard for a while, man. So shout out to you. Thanks for being a part of the community, homie.
As a guy who gave me a shout out when he featured my Marvel lawsuit video. Now, back then I had about 12 subscribers, and at the time he got me a few hundred more. Even though I already had a ton of motivation doing what I'm doing right now, it gave me that extra push to keep me going. So Cavell, if you're watching this, thanks again for that. You know, by featuring other community members with unique ideas and thoughts, he really helps grow the community in a very selfless way, and I applaud Cavell for that. So anyways, let's take a look at this thing. Let's put this to the max and see what we get.
I'm always very appreciative hearing YouTubers who understand that, because you get mixed reviews when you react to people. When some people get jealous of the fact that, oh, he gets more views than me, how can I make my video and he gets more views than me on my video, not realizing that people are not watching. It's not like someone's taking your video, taking your content from you and profiting from your content. People want to hear my opinion on your content. And once you can understand that this influencer is capable of bringing those viewers because people want to see that influencer, you can focus on becoming that influencer that people want to see and take advantage of the opportunity like him. A lot of people are understanding this. A lot of people understanding to see it, and I'm definitely appreciative for those YouTubers and content creators who don't have that jealousy in their heart, and they really do understand. I am really just trying to help the community. I don't have to shout anyone out. I could literally not link to any videos. It's not against terms of service or anything like that. I don't have to help channels grow. I could literally just react to content and say nothing, or just not react to content whatsoever. I have hundreds of videos doing that. But I mean, I definitely, this is what keeps me going and keeps me spreading love throughout the community, because there are people who really do appreciate it. And I definitely want to see everybody win. Even those who don't like me. I react to people all the time who I know don't like me, but it is what it is, man. Okay. I like it. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that copyrighted music. I don't know about that one.
Okay, so that's not $10, but it's pretty high. To be honest, it's
$6. I mean, $6, it's not bad. It's not bad if you consider the fact that he did not even add in buying land or anything like that, or going viral. If you factor in the fact that he didn't add in any of the biggest catalysts, that's pretty massive. If you max everything out, if things go perfectly, that's what he comes up with, and that's pretty huge, to be honest.
a little higher than I'm actually comfortable putting on screen here. So let me be clear. I do not think we're getting all these licenses to launch products next year on VeVe and sustaining the highest conversion rates and retaining customers at the lowest churn rates. But if you do believe that, then this is what we get. So it's not impossible, and it should not be written off like most people do right off the bat. But in my opinion, it is unlikely. You know what I personally think is actually...
I mean, it's definitely unlikely. Like, I don't pretend that my scenario is likely, but I think that VeVe and this entire project, Ecomi, I think that this is an unlikely team. This is an unlikely project, and it's unlikely that we're in it this early. Everything about this is unlikely. It was unlikely that Amazon was going to become what it was, and Google was going to become what it was. I feel like all the greatest things in human history was unlikely. And I think that this project is one of those things that has the potential to be that unlikely, where it turns into some of these major brands that you see in the world. So, and I think that with this team, the team leading it and leading the charge, I think that we can definitely see something that's crazy, unexpected. So yeah,
we'll do right off the bat. But in my opinion, it is unlikely. You know what I personally think is actually more likely? The X factors. Still improbable, but they are some interesting factors that are hard to quantify, but can have big effects. First, let's pull up my more conservative estimate here, and let's also take a look at the limitations section. Firstly, this model only goes to 2026. In a longer time frame, can it go higher? Absolutely it can. Some people even say that we can have a $5 million Bitcoin in 2030. So all else being equal, the rest of the crypto market should follow with an increased market cap.
I highly doubt that Bitcoin is going to remain the king, especially when you got projects like VeVe and Ecomi who's managed to create a token that can literally be pumped solely using an actual working product. So it's not a crypto thing where people got to get wallets, learn how to protect it, all this crazy stuff. Like, as soon as these platforms start launching products that literally runs parallel to their tokens, a lot of stuff cannot be impacted the same way that certain like certain other cryptos is, where it always has to follow Bitcoin. I think that VeVe is just the beginning of what's going to happen in this crypto space. The fact of the matter is, people want simple. People want to be able to log into your Chase account, switch money from your checkings to your savings with the click of a button. Like, people want to be able to do that. No one's going to be coming in, oh, what's the MetaMask? Let me get this wallet here. Let me switch that. Like, no one wants to do all that. Technology is allowing us to advance and progress, which means make things easier, not make things more complicated, make things so you got to have cold storage and stuff like that. And you know, that crypto is overly complicated for no reason. And VeVe is the first sign of simplifying this. It's a lot of companies that's going to follow suit. And I think that a lot of these companies that do are going to be like VeVe, which I feel like is going to be an outlier when it comes down to everything following Bitcoin. So yeah.
Also, the virality of things. We only have seen a few times in the last 5-6 years where things have gone truly viral. Pokemon Go is one of them. Now, we don't choose what goes viral, but when it does, it can reach heights that nobody can predict.
And when you think about what's gone viral, VeVe has pretty much everything. If you think about things that has gone viral at different points in time, VeVe has almost anything. Well, or it's speculated that VeVe has everything that's gone viral. So taking that into consideration, it's massive.
Also, the land and other token burns based on the Omi utility program. That's another massive unknown that can drastically affect the price. Burns in general are a big factor, and I did toy around with a slider that can add VeVe versus burns as an estimated percentage of burns compared to the sales of regular NFTs. Now, ultimately, I chose not to include it because it did not fit the mantra of being a data driven model, as there's no data to support what that's based on. But what I will tell you is that the numbers that came out of that were ridiculous. I'm not going to tell you the number that came out of that because I don't want to spread false expectations based on something with zero facts to back it up.
So yeah, I like this approach. It's very conservative and it's very, I guess it's very logical. It's very logical. People don't want to get overexcited. I definitely get that perspective, and this is why a lot of people don't like my approach where I basically focus best case scenario. If nothing goes wrong, if they deliver everything that they say that they're going to deliver, like this is what a lot of my price predictions are based off of. But I also keep it honest about that. I keep it honest and say that, yeah, this is, companies don't do this, but I believe that the only reason this company has my money is because I believe this company is the exception. Companies don't perform perfect, but I believe VeVe is the one company that can. I see Amazon in them. That's the only reason they have my money. And I can only be myself. I can only be honest. So yeah, man, this is my thoughts on it. This is my opinion. And everybody's entitled to theirs. Everybody should have their own opinion, but we're going to end it here. If you want to check out the end of the video, be sure to go and subscribe to his channel. Check it out. That's pretty much it, y'all. Be sure to drop that thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications so you stay updated, and I will catch you all on the next one. Peace out, y'all.